Hi, I'm Rob Levin, publisher of the New York Enterprise Report, and welcome to Drinks with Rob, where I get to do two things that I absolutely love to do. One is to sit down and speak with a fellow entrepreneur, and the other is have a drink. And to that end, I'd like to welcome Dan Hoffman, CEO and founder of M5 Networks.
Hello, Rob.
Shall we?
Thank you.
Little Macallan?
Cheers.
Cheers. It's nice.
Yum.
Dan, give us the 30-second pitch, the 30-second overview as to what M5 is all about.
We provide office phones for businesses. We've got a much better way to do it using the internet. And so it takes a lot of costs out and gives you a very powerful communication system that helps our clients sell and service their clients better.
Wow, that was like the shortest 30-second pitch that I think we've ever heard.
It was 27 seconds, actually.
Yeah, you've obviously rehearsed this before.
Well, you should, right?
Right. Dan, I want to get right to the heart of the matter here. You recently underwent a transaction, right? There's noises bubbling about the business community here in New York. Can you tell us a little about it?
So we've been at it for 12 years. It'll be our 12th birthday in May. Always the same thing, this cloud phone system. We never
Before there was a cloud.
Before there was a cloud. It had many names over the years.
Right.
And this past year, 18 months, the cloud became a thing. And we saw tremendous market demand. Our revenue jumped about 50%.
Wow.
And I had to do something because in this phase of a market, the leader gets way more advantage than the number 2, 3, 4. I don't think it's always like that, but when a market really takes off, the buyers just want a no-brainer choice. It's kind of classic Jeffrey Moore.
Right.
And so the management team and I started looking at options. We looked at taking the company public. We were a little too small. We looked at private equity. And at that time, a strategic buyer started getting very interested, and they kept coming and kept coming. And the idea grew on us.
And can you tell us about the transaction? I mean, who bought you and for how much?
So ShoreTel is the number 3 IP phone system company in the world, next to Avaya and Cisco. And they have an on-premise model for delivering a really terrific bunch of features, but knew that cloud was coming into their world. So they paid, total consideration is about $162 million, I think was released, which is a little more than 3 times our revenue last year, to have that edge. It gave us about half of their market cap. And it's a fantastic shortcut for us to that leadership role. I'm now a public company.
Right. Well, congratulations. You know what? We got to do
Cheers again.
Then,
Okay.
Right? There we go. So it's interesting, cloud computing all of a sudden became the it thing. Was that when, would you say that you crossed the chasm at that point?
Right. I think that's so the classic is you build your company with early adopters, people take a chance on you, and then there's a little bit of a wait before the market tornado hits. And a lot of companies think that they're going like this and they don't plan to endure that ditch. For us, the ditch coincided with the recession, and by having a nice recurring revenue stream and control, we made it through, and then we came out into this tornado. So it very much is a different buyer. The early adopter wants different things than the law firm that just wants it to work.
Right.
Doesn't want to have to go to Radio Shack to buy a cable for your stuff.
Right.
It's got to be a complete solution, and so the kinds of things we needed to do to really win changed.
Right. So crossing the chasm, right, the cloud computing, but what I thought what you said that was really interesting was that's when you realized, you know what, I got to be part of a top player here. So, I mean, was it like an automatic, all right, guys, the good news is, cloud computing is now in. We've been talking about this before there was even a cloud. The bad news is we probably can't keep doing what we're doing the way we're doing it. Is that kind of what was going on?
Yeah, I mean, we knew we needed scale. We knew that if we did that, it would be worth a lot. And so there were other options, but this way, I think we have a chance to build $1 billion brand in an industry that doesn't have one at the moment. And if I tried to do that on my own, I think it would have been a little riskier and would have taken longer. So selling to ShoreTel was a shortcut.
Right. Got it. Dan, what year did you start the company?
2000.
2000. I want to go back to 2000, right? You're starting the company. Right. Think back. What did you envision as the exit back then?
You know, I always knew that our business model was a saleable one. We were in telecom. They gobble each other up all the time. You have recurring revenue and customers. You're always have some value. But the story of the company has been there's sort of this downside in our business model that's fairly safe. We could have sold the customer base and the revenues, with an upside that's exciting, which is to use our software to really invent something more valuable. So I can only think maybe in 3-year chunks, and I'm always wrong, but anyway, that's sort of how it works. And every step of the way, we were trying to take that swing at the upside, but protecting the downside, knowing that, you know, at the right moment, we could sell this business, but always wanting to go for it.
So how early on did you realize you had to invest not only in an infrastructure, but in the software that would actually differentiate you, knowing that would change the multiple, right?
Yeah, I mean, we built our software piece by piece. The biggest pivot was 2006, which was when we took venture capital.
Right.
And that coincided with this moment when we said, you know, we really have to become a software company. And so we took the money, we acquired a little group and a code base, and we started what's been a 6-year journey, I guess now, to learn how to develop products ourselves and learn how to listen to customers when you do that and learn how to scale them. And that's been a really fascinating chapter.
How did your employees take the news?
I was really worried about that. I mean, I think we were all in the same boat. There was a mixture of nostalgia and excitement. And I spent a lot of time with staff the last few weeks checking in. There's definitely some people that really had a lot of emotions around it, and that came out in all kinds of weird and wacky ways, as it always does at work. And other people said, wow, this is great for my career, this is a natural step for the company. And on balance, everyone signed up. You know, we had a moment where they might not have, and people are psyched for the new phase.
Cool. You must have done a good job communicating to the team.
We did spend a lot of time on that, but you know, it helps because we're the management team and I mean, we're excited. We're staying. Right. You know.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
I want you to think back now a little bit past 2000, right? Can you tell us about a low point that you had in the company? I mean, you went through a couple of recessions. There's all sorts of things, recession or not, that happen to a growing business, right? Anything that you can recall for us?
Well, you know, there was this moment in 2008 in the summer, and our business is subscription. You pay us per handset, so we started to see that people weren't adding handsets, adding employees as much anymore. So I went into a board meeting and I said, you know, I'm reading the news and we're seeing this pattern. I have a plan to take some jobs out, so I think we should watch this, and in 6 months, if it's continuing, we'll execute my plan. This is the reason why you want to have experienced venture capitalists and the reason why you don't want to have experienced venture capitalists. And literally, and the way it played out in my head was one of our VCs took his shoe off and banged it on the table and poked me in the chest and said, if you think that this is going to happen, we're doing it right now. And I got all defensive, and you know, these are great people. We had about 150 employees at that time. They pushed me to do this, and we took 50 jobs out. And we did it just as Lehman Brothers was collapsing, and we retreated to profitability, and it was a great outcome, but a very hard thing to do in a very dark moment.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's one thing when people hear about 50 jobs being lost, but when you're the person at the head of the ship that actually is responsible for that, it's a huge, I mean, I imagine you had many sleepless nights.
Yeah, it's very hard, and we're a company that cares a great deal about the workplace being like family, being engaged, being exciting, and it's pretty hard to keep that going when you have to make a move like a 33% staff cut. So no, I think we got through it, and it was the right thing to do in hindsight. But yeah, it was intense.
It was worth your board member taking a shoe off.
They were right.
Right. Dan, you look like you're a little bit of pain. What's going on?
I got a knee in my side at the M5 Jiu-Jitsu program.
I thought it was a subway rider. M5 Jiu-Jitsu program.
Right.
Can you? What is that?
One of our core values is learn, and so we do kooky things to emphasize how you do that as a grown-up, because people sort of forget.
Right.
And I always say it's the CEO's wish for more wishes. If you've got a bunch of people that are learning more and more, you're doing more and more.
Yes.
So we experimented with a program with the School of Rock last year, where the School of Rock came in and gave half-an-hour music lessons in the office, and then we did a big battle of the bands. We're doing that again, but somebody at the end of that one said, what do we do for an encore? Well, we should put everybody in an octagon and see who the toughest M5er is. So we have 50 people started the program about 8 months ago, and there's 15 left.
So somebody took a shot at you at the last Jiu-Jitsu outing, I guess, earlier today?
Yeah, I went to
Payback?
training today. Well, you know, I'm getting old, Rob, and these 19-year-old Brazilian trainers have sharp knees.
Right. We keep getting older, and they keep staying the same.
That's what's going on.
Right, right. So what's next for you, Dan?
I'm excited to be a public company and build this thing for the next phase. I'm doing all these new things that I've never done. Last week we did a road show with Fidelity and T. Rowe Price, and we're having a big analyst event on March 14th that there'll be webcast at AT&T Park in San Francisco. And so it's learning to do my job at a new scale point and as a public company.
Right. Have you had a chance to go to any of your venture capitalists who've, I guess some of them probably gave you a hard time over the years and say, told you so?
No, I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm definitely going to do that.
Right. Okay, I'm not going to ask for names.
Yeah.
Dan, I want to thank you for helping us out here with Drinks with Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Good luck with really the new rest of your life.
Thank you.
Right. To that end, let's there we go.